Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 193rd episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are asking a very interesting question, which is, would you ever get a face tattoo? Before we dive deep into the subject, a couple of things to cover. First, have you downloaded the episode on WokeNFree.com through the Podbean app? If not, please do, because A, it's how you show your number one support, but B, it's how you join the conversation. You have to download the app so that you can add in your comments. We want to hear your comments. Download the app. Thank you. Now, of course, another thing that you may have not considered doing, but you definitely should, is if you go to WokeNFree.com and you go on the Listen tab, and for instance, say you're not able to download an app for whatever the reason, what you can do is make sure you're subscribed and following the show on whatever platform you're catching this on. So we definitely appreciate the love and support we get on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, of course, our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. Must I go on? Lots of places to support the show at. So make sure you're doing that. Now, of course, you also want to subscribe to WokeNFree via email by going to WokeNFree.com and doing that. Simple, like less than a minute process so that you can get email notifications every time there's a new episode, and super simple to forward to friends and family. Now, of course, if you want to find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn at WokeNFree. Always looking to holler and always looking to have people engage with us there. So make sure you check out our content there. And then, of course, if you do have 90 seconds and you haven't already done it, which there's room, guys, there's more room for 5-star reviews. So you know what to do. Listen tab on WokeNFree.com. Go and pick your platform of choice where you want to review the show at. With that, scene end.
All right. So then we should just get into the episode then.
All right. Question out of the gate. Would you ever get a face tattoo?
Now, when I think of face tattoos, I'm thinking of those tattoos that go right on the front of my face. So in that regards, I would never get a face tattoo. So no tattoos like right in the front area of the face. The only thing I would do, though, is I would get tattoos on the top of my head and on the back. I just don't want people to be able to judge me based on seeing those tattoos.
Gotcha.
So I need something that I can cover up.
So when we're thinking face tattoo, technically it's the totality of your face. So it could be the front of your face, could be the side of your face. But so you are open to some facial tattoos, just not the direct front facing part of your face.
It's got to be something that I could hide. So It could be something kind of like, since I wear glasses, I can get a tattoo that goes under the arms of the glasses. That's what I could do that.
Yeah, so for me, I would definitely say yes, but similar to your answer, though, it would have to depend on a couple of things. It would depend on what the tattoo is, where am I putting it on my face, and at what age am I doing this at. So I really love tattoos. I think they're beautiful and wonderful expressions of art, passion, and beauty. However, I wouldn't necessarily, to your point, get something on the facial front of my face, and not because I don't like those, just because, unfortunately, it seems like in our society that it becomes challenging to do things that create more stigmatization for yourself than necessary. I mean, I personally love them, and I respect folks who have all sorts of different expressions of art form on their body, in their home, whatever, but that's not necessarily the consensus everywhere you go. So I would probably do something maybe later in life where, you know, the need to maybe quote unquote fit in isn't as apparent as it is in my life right now. It's going to be a lot less at 60 or 70 probably than it is right now. So I would be even open to something on the cheek or something like that. Not to say that I'm planning for something like that, but more open to it. And I would say
So would you do things like freckles then?
So personally, I appreciate people who do it, but that's not something I've considered for myself. I would be open to like maybe like a rose or some type of a symbol that meant something either about like maybe my children or something that I loved. Even an elephant, really.
So no cosmetic tattoos then that just kind of
that's an interesting
look
question.
like they could be natural.
I mean, like, so it's interesting because then I just wonder, like, how does that interact? Like, I don't know.
Permanent eyebrows, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say no because, again, you just never know in life. Like, life has a funny way of surprising you. And sometimes you think, oh, that would never happen or I would never do that. And it totally, like, you totally would. So I always want to keep the door open until proven otherwise, that I'd be like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. So I would say maybe, but not something I'm planning for right now.
All right. So the listeners can see that you're more into it than I am. So we probably should go over what are the actual pros and cons of getting a face tattoo.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I came across a site called tattoosboygirl.com, and they listed a couple of pros and cons that I thought were interesting. So pro, self-expression, which is what I already talked about, which is this idea that like, when you are thinking about tattoo, we have to remember this is art and it's created on your skin, which is, a wonderful way for how you can show the world how you see yourself. Also, you can put representations of things that are meaningful to you, such as events or people or feelings that are special to you. And, this form of self-expression is all about you. So that's definitely a pro, because sometimes people do feel like they're living life and they're not able to fully express themselves or express who they are or what they are. So art is a wonderful way to do that. And like, if you're willing to deal with, the pain and stuff like that, then put it on your body. A con, as we also talked about, is that perception, because tattoos and body art is not necessarily equally appreciated in all walks of life, in all circles of life, then it's something that will create a presumption about who you are to others, whether they share one word with you or not, which I don't necessarily agree with, but it is something to put on the table that you do. When you walk into a room, people make a judgment call about who you are and what your value is before you say a word. So it is something to think about. Do you, based on the sometimes either scrutinizing and or negative interpretation that people will sometimes put towards people with either excessive body art or even just some body art, do you want that for yourself? I have several tattoos. You have several tattoos. So, it wasn't something that stood in our way, but we don't necessarily have a face tattoo. So, you're taking it to another level, because of our tattoos, if we cover our body, you may not see our tattoos, but if it's on your face, depending on where it's on your face, it's right out there for the open. So are you okay with perception, regardless of whether perception is positive or negative? Another pro would be beauty, in the sense that, some face tattoos can be really pretty, along with just general tattoos. I think they're stunning. And so do you want to have something unique or beautiful or aesthetically pleasing on your face that, may even draw more attention to you? That could be seen as a pro. Some people you could also flip it and see it as a con. Okay. I quickly mentioned pain. It's a tattoo. So to suggest that it would be pain-free, I think unless you have a really interesting pain threshold, I think one should expect to have some pain that comes with tattoos. So are you willing to undergo something and also deal with pain on your face for that tattoo?
We have nerves, so you have to have pain. There's got to be pain either way. It's just how much can you take?
Yeah. So I know I've screamed like a banshee for every tattoo.
Oh boy.
That's just where I stand in the process of life.
Nice.
But again, if pain is either something you're into or something that you are like, I laugh in the face of pain, then have at it, and it's not a con for you. For me, that was definitely something I had to weigh and consider when I was getting a tattoo. And then you'd have to think about it even for your face. It might be another level of or intensity of pain, because it's a different, more sensitive part of your body. So
yeah,
there's that. How about you?
So I thought of a couple pros and couple cons, and this one I sort of mentioned to you, but this is more specific, this first one. So a face tattoo, it could actually be used as a permanent cover-up. So instead of constantly using makeup, you can kind of like tattoo what you want. Like you could do different shades. You can tattoo your hairline. I mean, you could do a lot of different stuff instead of
That's interesting.
Using all these other methods that aren't permanent. So it's like a permanent kind of change you can make to your face. The second pro is you can make a statement without ever having to speak to somebody. So it's like what you were talking about in the form of art, but I'm thinking more of like, I guess you can let people know your interest by what you tattoo on your face. So you could tattoo your favorite like sports on it. You could put like a ball on there, a football or a basketball.
Absolutely.
You could. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm just saying
it's an option.
It's a way to make a statement. So you could do that.
True devotion to sports or whatever interest.
Whatever it is. Yeah, you can put a video game on there, whatever you want. I mean, I think that's a pro. You don't even have to say anything. It's just automatic. People can see that. And the third pro I thought about is you can possibly reduce glare reflected into your eyes. So sort of like how athletes put black paint right underneath their eyes to help with glare. Now this is not like, I don't think this is scientific yet. It's the jury's out on if it actually works, but hey, a lot of the football players still do that. They put that little black strip under their eye.
But you're saying people would put that tattoo like that black strip?
I'm just saying that's a pro. I'm not saying anyone's done it. I just thought of it as a pro.
Okay, gotcha. That's interesting.
But I don't even know if it truly works though. It hasn't been scientifically proven that the glare is reduced.
And it's permanent too.
Yeah. But now you never have to worry about the glare if it does work.
That's a hilarious pro, though.
Isn't that funny? Like, it's very... I thought about that. I said, if I was going to do a face tattoo, what would be a good one? It's like, do something practical, hopefully.
I know, but it just makes... It seems to put you, like, in this, like you're going to go to, like, an elegant, ballroom with two stripes under your
eyes. Well, it's cool.
Like, I mean, I guess you could put cover up
yeah,
on.
That's when you have to put the makeup on. If you hope people will see it. But otherwise, you walk around and you're ready to live in Alaska.
That's different, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the pros I thought of. And the cons I thought of were people might fear you because, I mean... Tattoos on your face is not something for everybody, and people sometimes get... Yeah, they might just say, wow, this person's pretty bold, so it's just something to think about. Yeah. Another thing is they might think you're a gang member, so try not to put teardrops near your eyes because certain tattoos mean something to people, even if it doesn't mean it to you. So your intention doesn't even matter, actually. That's one of the problems, even though we want to say intention's everything. The issue with certain tattoos... You're going to be perceived specifically for something that may not be true. And another one is that people probably think you're a troublemaker, a rebel with a cause. Because not everybody gets a tattoo on. It's a certain type of person.
But it's like, it's only,
it's rebellious in nature.
But only if you, because more and more people have it now. So it's not like as
specifically like tattoos on the face.
Not on the face, but
people have tattoos. Yeah, you can have a tattoo and you could be a very soft person because you can have like a quote. But even if you put a quote on your face, I still think people are going to say there's something different about you. Like, I have to watch you. Like, you're not going to be as trustworthy.
I think
it's like negative connotations,
it's an
to be honest.
Unfair perception because you should always talk to the person and get to know a person before you judge someone, like Dr. King said, by the content of the character of their heart, not just like looking at them and just being like, oh, I don't know you, I'm going to make a judgment.
But it was actually a decision they made though, too. That was specifically, it's not like they weren't forced to put that tattoo on their face.
But it was meaningful.
So it does tell you something about them.
And so you should, if you're that curious, instead of making an assumption about someone, talk to that person, right? Get to know them. Maybe they put that quote because maybe they were, 10 days away from dying. And this quote was said to them right before when they woke up. And so they wanted a physical reminder every day of just how important life was. You never know why someone did something. Like, they could also have been like, look, it was Tijuana. It was late at night. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so there's so many different, like, reasons as to why people do something. But either way, it's inappropriate to judge without even making a concerted effort to understand the person, get to know them, then make your judgment call, right?
But if someone has the skulls and crossbones on their face, then you definitely know.
No, definitely have a judgment. I say get to know
on their face specifically, like on the forehead.
Get to know the person, make a judgment call.
I mean, unless it was like a bad bet that you lost, I mean, it could have been that, but I don't know.
It could be that too.
That just seems pretty extreme to me.
It was my, what's that called? Not bachelorette, but the bachelor party. Yeah, like a bachelor party, and just lost a really bad hand of cards.
Maybe. The last con that I have is it'll definitely hurt because your face is more sensitive.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, there's other parts of your body that have more fat, but your face is gonna be very sensitive. A lot of nerves in there. I don't know how much it bleeds either. Like, it must be interesting. Cause there's a lot of blood vessels in your face.
I've always been sensitive about the idea of like do I want any finger tattoos? Similar to the face, it's a sensitive area, you know. It's,
and the problem with that is those wear down really fast because you use your hands so much. So that skin has to be replaced. Yeah. So that one's like, that's rough. Mm-hmm. What things should people consider before getting a face tattoo? So on this website, and again, for all newcomers and also people who've hung by with us, you can get all of our links on the episode at WokeNFree.com. So Love to Know shares a couple of things to think about. So one is, artist reluctance. There's some tattoo artists that might give you, just some things to think about. They want to make sure that when they do perform this job and they give you this face tattoo, you're not going to come back and say, like customer remorse and be like, no, this isn't what I wanted. So, there's something to think about that, the artist, want that, no artist wants to feel responsible for participating in someone else's bad decision. So just something to think about there. That's interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like they'll actually say, I don't know if I want to do this because you're going to regret it. Because they don't want you to spend time doing something, then you come back and, and tell them like rage about like, what did you do to my face? My right mind. And it's like, okay. So, look what you did to my face. How could you? Yeah. So that's something I thought was interesting. Also, facial tats are exposed to a lot of sunlight, so that can cause them to fade more than normal. So many artists will offer to do touch-ups, but the more times ink is refreshed, the more opportunity there is for scarring. So most artists don't want to chance being involved in a tat going wrong. So again, just something to think about there. That sounds like a con there, yeah. Mm-hmm. And, also just thinking about just like, there's a perspective that employers, law enforcement, family members, love interests, folks in your life that will take, a certain stance on face tattoos. So, do you want to deal with, any negative fallback or getting any, reducing opportunities for yourself with this? And, does the tattoo artist want to be involved with that? So something to think about there.
You are listening to Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
Woke and Free.
Woke and Free. A podcast that keeps it real and honest.
Also, you want to think about, when you do this is yes, it can be removed, right? But, you should still think about this as a permanent situation. So like, what is something so significant and permanent that you would want to put on your face, right? Like, and so if there's nothing in mind that comes to mind for that, then wait a minute, right? Like take a beat, think about it. Maybe you want to consider doing something like, what is that? Like a henna, like a temporary tattoo, and then like live with it with a little bit, play with it, see how that feels. Do you feel good about it? Do you like how it looks? Are you dealing with the consequences that come with that? Well, and if that was to be permanent, how would it differ from your life as it stands today? So something to think about as well.
I've never even thought about putting a temporary tattoo on my face. Even when I was a child. And
well, you know why people...
It never has even come to my mind.
When you go to the carnivals or something like that and parents allow the face painting.
I've done that
and then also they do like the little butterfly things on your face.
Yeah, the painting I understand. But I've never put like a temporary tattoo on my face. I don't know. It never has come to my mind to be like, I want this on my face.
Yeah, not me either, yeah.
I don't know.
So, but that's just something to think about. And then, of course, with tattoos, if it does not necessarily go the right way, would you be comfortable having a laser removal procedure on your face? Like, is that something that you feel good about? The results aren't always perfect. And, the ghost of it might still exist. Do you want that ghosting of that ink on your face? So now
you'll be haunted by something on your face?
I mean, you said it, not I. So there's something there to think about there.
All right. And in the midst of you telling me some of these things to consider, I thought about another pro. And it's like morbid, but it's there and I have to say it.
Okay.
So when you pass, it'll be easier to ID your body because you have the tattoos. If you pass and you don't have your ID on you.
Only
People
if you're
can use
not,
the tattoos
I don't want to be
like, that
crass,
is definitely that person.
But only if your body is still not, like, as long as it's not dismembered or burned, right? Like,
well, yeah, I mean,
it still has to
depending,
be,
alright, I mean, yeah.
good condition kind of situation.
Yeah, we'll say, yeah. If the tattoos are still visible, they can help you with being ID'd quicker. They'll say, so-and-so has these tattoos on here and here.
It's an interesting pro, yeah, for sure.
But I just thought of it because you mentioned law enforcement. I don't know why that sparked me to think of that. But that's what I thought of.
But you know what? To be honest, this John Doe situation, like maybe we would not have people die without knowing who they were if more people had identifiable marks on their body, right? And it was documented.
Multiple. Yeah, you need multiple, like you said, because if it gets taken off, then they're gone, right? So you need multiple of them to do that. Now, other things I think you should consider is your occupation.
Yep.
Because I'm not trying to say what you should do and what you shouldn't, depending on your occupation, but I think this can hinder your hiring depending on what you do.
Industries.
Yeah, there's certain professional industries might not go for that, just to say.
But that doesn't mean that that's correct. That's
not that it's
very
correct.
Old school.
But it may
we need to be open and inclusive. It might make things hard. It might make things harder, but it might also open the door to conservative belief systems that need to be challenged, right? We are 2021. It is not acceptable to say you couldn't be a lawyer or a doctor without a face tattoo. So, that's outrageous. If you have the ability to do that role, you should be hired to do that role.
Even if your whole face is covered in tattoos,
doesn't matter.
Still be able to go into surgery.
Have the ability to do it. Because
what if you distract the people that are around you?
Then that means that those people are being judgmental and they're not focusing on the job at hand, which is not your problem. That is their problem. And that is something that can raise with certain departments in their organization.
Okay, if you say so. And then I think you need to consider that you're going to be judged on this. So if you're really if you're really concerned with how people perceive you, this is something to take into hand before tattooing your face, because people will definitely make up some of those judgments that we mentioned earlier. So definitely consider that, because there's a lot of people that are just worried about, like, they're very self-conscious. So that's something to think about. This is not
going to help that.
This will definitely not help you in that endeavor. Then the last thing to consider is, what does this tattoo represent? Could it be viewed as offensive, actually?
Which is challenging, because we live in a very hypersensitive world where, depending upon how you stroke a line, how you curl up something, it can be
anything can be offensive, right? They could say a flower on your face. What are you trying to say about flowers? Flowers are meant to be smelled, not to be on your face. Like, I don't know,
like the death symbol in another part of the world. Like, it's really.
Or some people say you can't take pictures of certain things. That's like forbidden. People have those beliefs where you're not allowed to take. And if you have it on your face, whoa, you really just blew everything out of proportion.
Exactly. So it's really, that's a hard one, because you have at the end of the day, to be woke and free means you are living for you. You're living on your terms, and so you cannot live by the judgments or the requirements of others. But you can definitely consider their requirements and conditions and decide whether that works or flows for you or not. But
we all know of things that are offensive to most people on the planet.
Well, hatred and discrimination and things like that, of course. Yes.
Yeah, that's a thing.
So
even though you might really like
knowingly,
that.
It's still, if you put like a swastika on your face, it's it's challenging, guys.
Yeah, that's
it's very, very challenging to not.
People are gonna have a certain perception about you.
I don't even know if that's legal. Like, to be
of course honest. It is. They can't. Well, it depends where you're at, though, too.
Yeah. Please do not use tattoo art as a form of discrimination or hatred towards others.
It's kind of like if you hate a group, don't put that on your face.
But you know what? It is something to be brought up, because I think we've watched documentaries with people who had like swastikas and stuff like that.
Prisoners will do that sometimes.
On their bodies.
Tattoos on their face that represents the things they hate. Yeah. They'll do that. It's definitely a thing.
Very challenging.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Carissa is about to meet her fiancé's family, whom are very conservative. She has some stars tattooed near her eyes that make it look like she is crying stars out. Should she wear cover-up makeup to not offend them?
Well, what an interesting scenario. So when you said that, I was like, ooh, that sounds really pretty and like really like dramatic. And so like, ooh, is she an actress or like, it made me wonder just like what kind of dynamicness is she bringing to the world? I say you have to be your authentic self. And at the end of the day, your parents or your parent-in-laws or potential parent-in-laws can love you, hate you. It is what it is. You're in the relationship with your partner. And if that person dug you enough as how you look that day, then why are you hiding or making yourself, diminishing your light just for anyone else? If your partner asks you to do that, even that is like, well, you saw me the way I looked and you still hollered. So, ¿cuál es tu problema? Like, at the end of the day, do you? And if the parents don't like you because you have stars on your face, then I think that that's a very unfortunate scenario because there's more to who you are in this world than how you look and what tattoos you have on your body, no matter where they are. So I say, even though they're conservative, if it's going to make her uncomfortable, don't cover up. If she doesn't mind covering up and that's something that she is normally doing, not just for this specific scenario, then fine. But I personally say rock out and do you, man, because I really want to see someone with this now. This looks really pretty. Like, I'm just like, oh, that's gorgeous. Are they multicolored? Like, what do they shine? Like, do they glitter? Like,
yeah, it's very interesting.
Sounds gorgeous.
Very interesting.
Your thoughts?
I pretty much agree with you, except that I say no matter what, she shouldn't wear the cover up. Not for the family. I don't think that makes sense to me. She needs to just, cause it's like, you got it in the first place. Now you're trying to hide this thing, but you already knew you were making a bold statement and you wanted it for some really special reason. So I say, why try to hide this? Cause now, it would also set the precedence that, I got to always cover it whenever I'm around your family. It doesn't just show them who you are. And it'll make interesting dinner conversation.
Absolutely.
So there'll be something to talk about.
I mean, yeah,
you
they
tell
might
them why you
be
got
like,
it.
That's different. Oh.
Yeah, you tell them, I'm a real American. That's
and if they're conservative, they probably won't even say anything.
Stuff.
They might just be like, we like your hair.
Yeah, they might not mention it, yeah.
Because they don't want to embarrass themselves and, make a fool of themselves.
Maybe, I mean, you never know.
It's rude to just attack someone like that, but...
You never know.
But we don't know. She should do her, man. That's gorgeous.
There's no point to do this fake stuff. You don't need to. Just live your life. Scenario 2. Lashana loves the Venus of Willendorf statue so much, she wants to have a permanent version of it on her face. So when she looks in the mirror, she remembers her ancestors. Is this a good idea, or is there a different path she can take?
Can you explain to me the Venus of Willendorf, just so I'm understanding what that's... Is that the
it's the one you think about, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's the one you...
Oh, no. Oh,
yes.
No.
Yes, it's that one. Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Wowzers.
Everybody has different interests in art. That's what I can say.
That's fabulous.
Yeah. Sweet.
And I just for clarification purposes, how big is this statue on her face?
Well,
and where is it on her face exactly?
It's going to be on her left side of her face. It's going to take up her cheek and
whole
go up
cheek.
to her... up to her hair, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. So I think that, and then again, for the audience, this statue, it represents fertility, right? And womanhood. And
there'll be a link so you can take a peek at what it is.
Yes.
We'll have a link to that in the episode.
Yes.
And you'll get the gist of what's going on.
I think that's critical for the WokeNFree audience and family.
It is, yeah.
Yes.
To actually see it.
Yes. Look, at the end of the day, as a feminist, I appreciate people who are like really into, the feminine history and understanding the beauty and power of women and what we bring to this world, including that very distinctive statute. So I say that if this is something that she's passionate about, if this is something that she is willing to live with, look at for the rest of her life on her face, regardless of the perception she receives and regardless of her occupation and or the judgment that she gets from others, then go on with it and rock it, because, she's kind of endowing herself with, daily doses of femininity and feminine history and culture. So do you. As long as she can live with the consequence of it, then have at it.
Wow, that's what you go for.
Just really think hard on that one, though. Just really just make a good, sit with it for like a month.
All right, so you let her sit for a month, and then she can go ahead.
I would even do the temporary tattoo and just like see how that looks, and
just try it out.
Try it out, like really make sure you're there with that one. And then if you're like, I love it, it's everything, then live your best life. I want people to be as happy and as fulfilled as they can be every single day of their lives.
All right, that's interesting.
And your thoughts?
It's exact opposite. I think this is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea.
Okay, well, let's not be so judgmental and
not being judgmental. I have to put that out there just in case somebody was pondering this.
Okay.
And this is why I say that. There's actually a much better place you can put this tattoo. You can put it, so what I would do is put it on your stomach and make the belly button of the statue align with your belly button.
I was so nervous as to where you thought this should have gone.
No, because it'd be cool. So it looks like it's on your stomach and it's kind of like a part of you, the statue.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, so its belly button will align with yours, and then you can just look down and then you can
see her every day.
Yeah, and then you go. You get to align with your ancestors.
But it's not
just
showing
look down.
to the world. So if her intention is to show this, the history to the world, then unless she's going to wear crop tops for the rest of her.
Well, I would suggest against that, actually. After getting this tattoo, I would suggest against that.
That's an interesting perspective. Could you and would you always wear a piece of clothing forever and for the rest of your life? And if that included crop tops, that's a really interesting choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say only on the stomach, otherwise it's a no.
Yeah,
it's a hard pass.
Yeah, so you can't put it on the face. Like I recommend not doing that. Like so much with this specific one. I'm not saying any tattoos, but this one to me is pretty extreme.
But when everyone clicks on the link,
they understand why. They'll understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. Because there's certain things where you say, "All right, we've got to we have to hold our ground."
Oh, you're hurting my pregnant belly. Ow. Ow.
You envisioned the statue and you said, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Wowzers. Wow.
That's interesting, yeah. Scenario 3. A 4 usually is able to get a job offer after any of her interviews. She recently had her children tattooed on her left and right cheeks. After 3 interviews, she never got a call back from any of the jobs. Should she consider having her tattoos removed before her next interview? Or is there some other reason why she is not landing the jobs?
Just to be clear, it's the children's name or pictures of their children?
It's pictures of them.
Oh, wow. And how large of this image is this?
I hope that's not an interview question. Oh, man. Oh, boy. Okay, how large?
Again, please clarify.
All right, so
how large is this image?
They fit her whole cheek, so it takes up the majority of it. Like 60%.
Wow. Oh, okay.
But they're pictures and they look lifelike. They're like really well done.
Oh, wow.
No, they're really detailed. Really detailed though.
Okay.
It's not simply drawn.
Beautiful body art. Okay.
Yeah, it looks almost photorealistic on each cheek.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Photorealistic images.
Ow. Ow. My belly. Okay. So I would say, listen.
Yeah, what would you do if you saw this person?
I would want to know the names of her children, how old they were. Like, that's just a beautiful tribute to your family. Listen, it is a miracle to be alive. It is a miracle to create life. I'm creating life as we sit here now. So ultimately, I'm all for people who want to celebrate their children and celebrate their legacy. Get it. Do you need to do it in this form or in this manner? Not necessarily. But again, I don't know her full story. Maybe she nearly died having her children, or maybe there was a life traumatic situation where she felt compelled to demonstrate her love and her passion for her children. So again, you have to talk to people. You can't just make judgment calls about what they've done and how they appear in this world. It's not very cool. It's not inclusive. It's not appropriate. So, is that the only reason why she's now no longer getting job offers? Not necessarily. She could be going on and maybe her face is really itchy, right? Cause like maybe, when you have a tattoo, I know that when we've had tattoos, they get itchy after sometimes, right? Like if there's not enough lubrication on them. And so if she's in there and she's like scratching her face, that's
what's going on.
That might be a distractor. That could be like, that's different. And the person might not be hiring her for that or offering her a job for that. She also could be off her game. You know, sometimes you're on your game and sometimes you're off your game, right? Like, and she could have other stuff getting in the way of her really being clear and present and really acing those interviews. So outrightly, I wouldn't say that you could automatically say she's not getting it because of that tattoos. Is it suspect? It's probably super suspect, but
yeah.
But ultimately, it's not the only reason. And if anyone doesn't want you for that job because of, you know, of how you're appearing, you know, that subjects them to certain types of assessment themselves, right? Like, you know, you have to be very careful
about it. Yeah.
From an employer perspective. You cannot just, you know, outrightly be like, no.
You can discriminate people based on tattoos. You can. It's not against any
I know,
laws.
but well, I don't know that for a fact.
Okay.
I'd have to look into.
I've seen that, but
okay, I'd have to look into that for my own purposes.
I've seen job descriptions that said no visible tattoos allowed. Actually,
yeah, and people write stuff in job postings and get, you know,
it could be
get brought up on that.
And it was like for parole officers.
Yeah.
I saw that kind of list that kind of stuff.
So again, you'd have to look at your local laws, regulations, speak with employment attorneys. You know, you'd have to do your due diligence. But however, I would say there's multiple factors here. It may be leaning that way, but I don't want to outrightly say it's the only thing. How about you?
All right, I want to outrightly say it's the only thing.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
That's what I want to say.
Okay.
Because the thing is, because I like how you asked, was it a picture or was it their actual names? So that makes me know, if you saw these pictures, you know you would scream in terror. When you first saw it.
Not. What are you
suggesting? The person would walk in and you would just holler. And he was like, oh, sorry, ma'am. Something came over me.
What are you suggesting, Khalil?
You would say, ma'am, something caught my spirit.
No, excuse you. Oh, please stop making me laugh.
Because I know. Because you know that is a jarring thing, because we've never seen such a thing.
Excuse you, I don't know what you're suggesting.
We've never seen such a thing.
I know that. I was asking for clarification.
Because imagine if, like, let's say you're working on your computer, they come in, you're like, yes, come in, and you look up and you see your face, you're like, hello, man.
No, that's not appropriate, Khalil. That's not appropriate.
But imagine seeing that. You know, it's going to make you like...
It makes that person more distinguishable.
Your jaw might drop down though and say, "Wow."
I would be like, "Wow, that's incredible." And we move on and start having a conversation. I want to get to know the person. I would want to get to know the person even more then, because I'm like, that's
Remember,
incredible.
These are pictures. These aren't words. Because I think the words you seem okay with, but the picture seems like that's a little upsetting.
I have no issue against either of it. So don't put things in my mouth.
You okay with the picture?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, I'm okay with people living their authentic truth, no matter what, in whatever form that looks like and whatever form that's written in and presented in.
I'm okay with it, but I also know this is why those other jobs didn't work out. I can guarantee it.
Okay, so for me, this is a scenario that I say there's still
You're not sure. You think something else could be up.
Still room for other reasoning here. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Different takes.
Yes, but all I'm saying is I like clarification. You know that.
Yeah.
And so good for her and good for life. And so
But what if it was the picture and it was the text of them?
That's
and
amazing.
With birth dates too.
Yes, have at it.
Birth dates on there too?
Live your authentic truth.
Wow. I mean, they should just put their birth certificate on there too, right?
Well, I don't think you should put, private documentation on your face.
Okay. Don't put your address on your face.
And that's only
either.
from a security purpose. It's just, this world is really, people are always trying to scam
They're like, well, that
you
makes that easy.
Steal your information. So that's the only reason I would say a hard pass on that one, because just because, you don't want your identity stolen.
So never put your address on your face. Can you agree to that or no? Because what if your address changes?
Correct, that too. And also, just like, why do you want to give up that information, right? You want to have some private, privacy for yourself. There's a lot of things that are out in the world. We can have a couple of things private for ourselves. So,
all right.
Yeah.
See?
Now, with that, we are at that time again. It is coming to the end of our 193rd episode of Woke and Free. Quite the episode discussing, would you ever get a face tattoo? So will we leave you hanging for what our next episode will be about? Drum roll, please.
On our next episode, we'll be doing another Woke and Free story time called 21 Questions About Death. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation. And make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, it's really critical that you submit a topic on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That is WokenFree.com. We definitely get requests outside of this method. Please make sure you're following this approach so that we can, get to the submissions as they come in. As y'all know, we're having a baby, so definitely not looking to book guests anytime before fall. So just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to social media, you can always hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then when it comes to sponsorships or collaborations, you can hit us up where, I said it before, contact us page at WokeNFree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do, share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for WokeNFree Wednesdays. Remember, WokeNFree is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.